It's your girl Karana Hosey from the Blowing Bubbles podcast, the coolest safe space on the planet. We have the one and only Z Jewelers in the house today. Z, how are you doing, beautiful?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited about this podcast, girl.
Oh my goodness. I'm so excited about having you here, and you look amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh my goodness. Like this is like couture. I don't even know. It might be 4 million of them made, but she looks like one of one, so we're going to claim couture.
I appreciate it. I receive it.
Yes. So how was your week, Z?
My week was really busy, honestly. I had prepared for a huge sale. Unfortunately, my Instagram account got disabled right when it was about to take off, but I'm really resilient, so I'm like, you know what, let's pick up the pieces. Let's, put our heads together as a team and figure out how we're going to move forward. So that's what I've been doing this week.
Love it, love it, love it. Resilient. Come on, Meta. Y'all got to do better.
Yeah. Really? I'm like, come on. I am like the safest person on Instagram right now.
Oh, man. So I want to get into a little bit of your backstory.
Sure.
Where are you from, Z?
I was born in Baltimore, but raised in Cali. So I claim Cali because I've been there my whole life. So that's basically like where I was raised in.
Okay. And what got you started in the jewelry business?
So the jewelry business was never something that I wanted to do, honestly. My husband and I had just gotten married. We were struggling financially. And I was like, God, something has to give. I'm not making enough. We're living paycheck to paycheck. Like, I don't feel like I could sing, dance, or rap. So what could I do that would be great for me? I'm a people person. That's all I had. That's the only talent I had, knowing how to talk to people. And
that's a talent.
That's a talent. Hey, I'll take it. So one night after praying, I went to bed. I had a dream. And in the dream, I was a celebrity jeweler living in Atlanta, Georgia. And the dream felt so real that when I woke up, I felt like I was in the wrong life. So I said, God, if this meant anything, don't let it pass me by. Yes. So long story short, I ended up researching the industry, asking God to just open doors. And before I knew it, I had created a business plan, never knew business, and God just made it all come to fruition. I didn't plan on launching the company for a year because we're broke. I said, I'll take $20 from each check for a year and see if I could do something. I got let go from my job a few months later, April 7, 2020. I had nothing to my name because I didn't save any money. So with my last paycheck, I took $51.80, invested it into my first piece of jewelry, sold it, and it turned into my first $30,000 in 30 days.
That's some incredible math. Okay, I didn't take calculus, but I think there's some exponential growth right there. $51 turned into $30,000
in 30 days. That's what I made in a year at that job.
Okay, there's a lot to unpack in the things that you just said. First of all, your gift made room for you.
Absolutely.
First of all.
Absolutely.
Secondly, you were let go because you probably weren't going to walk away.
I wasn't. I was very loyal to the company. I was doing free overtime. I did everything I could to just help the company move forward. My loyalty wouldn't let me walk away. So God knew to push me. And I thought the world was over until he showed me that the dream was exactly what he had in store for me.
Ooh, I have chills. That's amazing. That's amazing. That shows that you are definitely walking in your purpose.
Absolutely.
I love that. That math, though.
I know.
$51 turned into $30,000 in 30 days.
Yes.
A lot of people still don't make $30,000 a year.
Exactly. I couldn't believe it myself. Like when I did the math, I was on the ground like, God, I thank you. How did this happen?
That's how you know it's him, because it can't be something that you did in your own might, your own skill. You were not in the jewelry business. Let's not gloss that over.
I wasn't in business, period. There's no entrepreneurs in my family.
Not an entrepreneur, not a jeweler, and made $30,000 in your first month?
First 30 days.
If this is not a testimony, I don't know what it is. We got to get an organ player up in here.
Right.
Oh my goodness. Okay, $51 turned into $30,000 in the first 30 days.
Yes.
First of all, that leads me to encourage somebody. First of all, stay in your lane.
Absolutely.
Too many people are chasing, so now I've met you and I'm just going to do what you did. No,
Yes.
that's not my calling. That is
Yeah.
not what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
When you're doing the thing that God created you to do, you can't miss, you can't
Right.
lose, you can't fail.
Exactly.
Woo! Oh
Exactly.
my gosh. Oh my
Exactly.
gosh.
And I honestly feel like God just used this business as a vehicle to put me in front of people. Because
Absolutely.
one thing I love to do is pray for people and encourage people. Like, I want to make an impact on this world, you know?
That's
so
right.
the jewelry is just to get me in front of the right people to encourage them. And this is a part of my testimony, being able to
Oh
do
my
this
God.
podcast and to speak to others. Like, that's genuinely what I believe I was called to do.
Oh my goodness.
So.
Now the $51 that you invested, was that in one piece of jewelry, or what? How
Yes. Okay.
How does that look?
So I started off my business before I became a custom jeweler. I was reselling jewelry.
Okay.
So I didn't know where else to find jewelry. I found jewelry on Etsy. So my first piece of jewelry was actually a jade Buddha piece, like a religious piece. I knew that those were something that was very popular in my city at the time. So I took that money, invested in my first piece, and I flipped it for $180. So once I realized that people were like, yeah, I'll buy that, no problem, I took that $180 and bought a few more, and then I just kept doing
going.
that. I kept going. I didn't take the profit until I hit that $30,000.
Listen. Okay. How many people, now, I'm going to look right into the camera. How many people are out here taking chances with their lives and their freedom, flipping the wrong thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Right.
You got me stuttering. I don't stutter.
Yeah.
Flipping the wrong thing. So you found the thing. You found a thing. So you had enough awareness to realize something that was popular and that there was a market for it.
Yes.
And how long did you stick to that one piece?
That piece, I did that piece for at least 4 months. Like, I took over when it came to those, and I found all different types of varieties of them. Like, that was my bread and butter. But then, obviously, I'm like, okay, now that I'm in this business thing, now that I'm in this jewelry thing, what's next, right? You got to keep the momentum going. So, I started researching the industry, figuring out what was coming up next, how I could be an innovator, how I can get ahead of the game, how I can be a trendsetter. And that's kind of what took off into be creating custom pieces.
Wow.
So I ended up meeting manufacturers and starting off that way until I was able to invest into my own factory overseas and actually produce my own pieces. So, yeah.
Okay. Your own factory overseas?
Yes.
Okay. Certain things that you say, I'm going to slow you down a lot.
Okay. I forget how big it is.
No, this is amazing. I want people to understand when you have, first of all, you have to have that resilience that you displayed.
Yes.
You can't get discouraged, and you have to innovate.
Yes.
You have to think outside of the box to do something that has not been done.
Yes.
You can't continue to do the same thing expecting a different result.
Yeah, that's the definition of insanity. Yeah.
I'm so proud. I just want to bask in your presence. Oh my gosh. I am amazed right now. So where did you get, or what led you to that point where you said, I need my own factory and it's time to invest?
So doing custom pieces for a long time, working with manufacturers, I noticed, especially in the jewelry industry, this is a dog-eat-dog world. Especially me being a female, a lot of people try to take advantage of me, especially with pricing. But I am the queen of research. So I'm like, no, that's not the market rate. Let's talk down. I'm negotiating. And it came to the point where I was like, I'm going to do this myself, okay? Like, I know you're overcharging me. You're too comfortable with me. Now I'm going here and there trying to find and delegate tasks. So I'm like, you know what? How am I going to be able to save myself some money and then build a legacy for my children? So I was able to make contacts overseas that I kind of been working with for a while and kind of figure out who their connections were. And one thing led to another. I was able to invest in my own factory.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, did you feel comfortable investing in the factory via the internet, or you physically went overseas?
I didn't go yet. I did it over the internet because, again, I've been working with the people for a while. Okay. So I was like, okay, like I see the way that their customer service is. I see the way that they're able to mass produce. I see the quality of work. Mm-hmm. I'm willing to put my name on this and sign so that I have ownership, you know, because ownership is our goal. My husband and I,
my language.
Yeah,
oh my goodness.
Ownership is everything, you know. Everything. I don't want to just be a partner. I want to be an owner, you know. So that's why I made that decision. And then it's like me importing diamonds all the time. I'm like, okay, I'm West African, you know, by heritage. So I'm like, I'm about to invest in my own diamond mine. Why not? Who's doing it, right? You want to, we're in the same industry, but I want to do something that they're not doing. Right. So no one's investing in a diamond mine. So I want to own my own. Employ people where my father's land is, right? Oh my God. Create jobs and opportunities, but still benefit myself because it'll be much cheaper to import my own diamonds. So all these things I'm just trying to do to move forward and build like.
These are power moves. Like, there's millionaires who were born into wealth who don't think like that.
Yeah.
I applaud you. Oh my goodness.
Thank you.
So the pieces that you are now getting manufactured in your own factory,
right?
Where do those come from? Are you an artist? Do you sketch them? Do you have designers on the team? What does that look like?
A little bit of both. So I've hired 8 designers. They're called CAD designers. So we use the system called Rhino. We, you know, develop and design jewelry. And then we put it into production kind of based off of, like, I would look at current jewelry trends and try to make them my own. Or if I have an idea, I'm like, put this into production. I know this is going to sell. Like, for instance, my top seller right now are my diamond nameplates. Everyone from the 80s and 90s used to wear the gold nameplates with your name on them, right? So I wanted to make them in diamond. I knew that my customer's price point wouldn't be able to afford the big gaudy pieces that a lot of the rappers and artists are wearing. So I'm like, how can I meet them in the middle? So I made the smaller dainty letters and I called them diamond nameplates because I didn't have another name for them. Now, 3 years later, I see that every jeweler sells diamond nameplates. So it's just kind of like one of those things where I design something and it picks up on a trend and I see it going viral. So
awesome. I mean, for someone to be just barely 4 years into an industry and you are the trendsetter.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
I wasn't ready, y'all. I wasn't ready.
Thank you so much.
The internet didn't prepare me for all of this amazingness. Now, you have built up a very impressive clientele. Mm-hmm. How did you get your first celebrity client?
Ooh, okay. So when I took a leap of faith, packed my bags, and moved to Atlanta, which that's a whole story in itself. Because God told me I would end up in Atlanta, I just had that faith. And because business took off like crazy within my first year, I didn't even tell my husband we were moving to Atlanta because my husband had a carpet cleaning company and he's an introvert. And I knew that once he built this clientele, he wouldn't want to leave. So I flew to Atlanta on a business trip, signed a lease, and furnished our place, came home and told him we're moving. We moved to Atlanta. I mean, he was like, girl, what? Like blindsided, but I'm like, this is a faith move. Like, let's trust God on this. So we ended up moving to Atlanta literally 30 days later. I think 30 days is my thing. 30 days later, and I met my now very close friend, Olivia Song. She's a celebrity makeup artist. My husband and I are going on a date. I'm like, let me book her. She's popping in the city. I'd love to meet her and have her do her makeup. So I sat in her chair, and she started asking me questions like, how did I get started? How did I become a jeweler? She's never met a black female jeweler before. And before I knew it, she was so amazed with my story, she shouted me out on her page. That was the first time I got so many celebrity followers in one sitting. I had never had any celebrity followers before. People were still learning about my business. So everyone started following me, and I got all these messages, and that's where I got my first few celebrity clients. And then it just kind of trickled down from like word of mouth and people being pleased with the service.
Awesome. And I love what you just said. Too often, Black-owned businesses, and I'm not a sugarcoater, so I'm going to say it just as it is. Black-owned businesses don't often appreciate the value of customer service.
Yeah.
It's like people expect the patronage just because they're Black-owned.
Right.
You got to deliver the top.
Absolutely. Customer service is everything.
You have to. I love it. I love it. And the power of that one connection.
Right. It was that
Just
one
takes
person
one.
for me. Yeah. I
Just
didn't allow
takes
myself
one.
to get discouraged until that came about. I just knew that there was going to be a big break. You know, if God said it's going to happen, he doesn't go back on his word. So it took that one person, which was a makeup appointment, to blow me up in Atlanta.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Now, how long had you been married when you moved from California?
When I moved from California to Atlanta, let's see, we got married 2018, 19, 20, 2 years.
Okay.
Almost 3 years. Almost 3 years. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And any children?
Yes, we have 3 children together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So from 10 to 2. So yeah.
Awesome. So you moved an entire family.
I did. We hadn't had our son yet. We made him when we got here. But
Welcome to Atlanta.
Yeah, right. I'm like, okay, I like Atlanta now. But yeah, we had our 2 girls, and again, I knew that if I moved my family here, I better be walking and standing on business. So I came here and did exactly what I told God I was gonna do.
Awesome. And have you done any with your now celebrity clientele? Do you do custom pieces like consignment? Not consignment. Custom. Do you do pieces? Do people do requests like, say, I want some bubbles? Can you?
Yeah, so I have definitely grown to become a custom jeweler. That's exactly what I call myself. I don't like to sell or produce jewelry that you can find everywhere. I like unique pieces. So I encourage people to be creative and let's make a custom piece. Like, because my imagination is crazy. So a lot of my celebrity clients, they come to me for whatever request and I'll make it. Like, if it's fun, as long as it's something that aligns with my beliefs, we're good.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. A lot of people will just compromise themselves to work with anybody just chasing the dollar.
Right.
And when you're walking in your purpose and you're staying true to you, who you are, the money will chase you.
Absolutely. I learned that. I learned that for sure. Absolutely. This is God's business. Like, I'm managing it, okay? Like, that's how I look at it. So I'm being a good steward, so I don't want to do anything that crosses the line.
Awesome. Because it can go away just like that.
Absolutely. Blink of an eye.
I've been chastised by him. I don't want to do that again.
Oh, yeah. No. Lesson learned.
Listen. Now, how are your kids adapting? Well, your son, he was born here, but how are your girls adapting to
They love it. My girl, I try to raise my children to be resilient as well, to just adapt to different situations, to make new friends. I just encourage them to just, love life and live it the way it's meant to be lived. Like, we've traveled so many places, so they're used to just moving around, honestly. That's good. Yeah, so they're fine. They're happy. As long as we buy them slushies and toys, they're good wherever they're at.
That's dope. Yeah. That's dope. Now, does your husband work in the business with you, or is he still okay? Yeah,
he does. So he ended up migrating from his company over to Z Jewelers because I ended up needing him a lot with helping me with clients. And my husband he's very punctual. So he keeps me like, hey, babe, you're running late, or this needs to be done, or we need to be on time. So it's like, you might as well join the business, babe. You're helping me manage this, And he learned so much just from being around me that he fell in love with jewelry. So it was just meant to happen that way.
Nice. Do you do like bridal pieces as well?
I do, yeah. Awesome. I actually just made a 3-carat, 14-karat gold diamond ring for a Dallas cowboy. He just got engaged, so that should be hitting the internet soon. Yeah. Yeah. That was a fun ring to make.
Oh my goodness. That is amazing. Now, are you a certified gemologist?
I am. GIA certified. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Listen, for those of you who don't know, it's one thing to study a field and get some notoriety and have some moniker of success, but when you really are a student of your craft, that is a whole other level of commendability.
Yes.
That's not an easy credential to earn.
Not at all. Not at all. And
I know my cousin is a jeweler.
Struggled throughout school growing up. It just never felt like my thing. So to put myself through this education, I was like, I gotta love the industry, because I never knew how to study or anything, but I pushed myself. So.
Awesome. I love it.
Thank
and
you.
what is the entry point for pieces that you have, like the price point, the lowest piece? Or is everything custom at this point?
Well, not everything is custom, because I have a website where people all over the world can just shop and just buy anything Z Jewelers. Okay. So I'd say the lowest price point is probably $99 or something like that. Like, it's affordable, up to $7,000 on the website. But when it comes to custom pieces, I definitely start at about $1,000 and up.
Oh, that,
which still is good. Yeah.
Yes.
Realistically.
Custom jewelry,
yeah.
Yes. My mind is like spinning. I'm trying to think of a piece that can be for my business. Yes, yeah. I love it. Do you have, how big is your team now? Your overall
company? It has definitely grown. We were at 8 employees last year. We're probably at sucks because I have a hiring manager now, but I think we're about 12, 13 of us total. So nice. I have an operations manager. She's now managing everybody because with my schedule I can't. So she's doing the hiring and the firing and the looking over everything. So
that's awesome. Yeah. Is there a direction that you would like to see the company go into?
Absolutely. My vision is to eventually down the road become a franchise. Like Tiffany & Co. I love it. I want to be the first Black-owned jewelry franchise. Like, that would be beautiful. Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. And how far in advance do you, or down the line, do you see that happening? Is that
Honestly, I really haven't projected a time frame yet, just because we're still working on our streamline. We're still working on building up the business to where I would feel comfortable even, opening. Mm-hmm. So I would probably give myself the next 5 to 7 years for that. But yeah, I plan on opening several locations because we're very popular in Texas.
Okay.
Obviously California, because that's where I started the business. Yeah. And we're growing in Atlanta. So I'm thinking those 3 locations would be great to start off. And then maybe something overseas in Africa, because again, that's where my family's from. People love jewelry over there, surprisingly. And I would love to just do something there for my people.
Okay. Now, what part of Africa?
We're West African. So my father's from Sierra Leone. My mom's from Liberia.
Okay.
Surprisingly, I would only do the jewelry business in Nigeria, though, because that's where people like DeVito and WizKid and them are from. Okay. And they're like the big jewelry purchasers. Nigeria is very flashy. They do a lot of events there. So I think that's where I would probably do the best. Yeah, as far as my brand. So.
Nice. I love it. I haven't been to Africa yet. That's high on my list.
Yeah.
Maybe by the end of the year.
You should.
Yes. My lineage was traced to Ghana.
And, I love Ghana.
Ghana and Mali.
Yeah.
So my father's mother's side is from Mali. And then my father's side is from Ghana. So
nice.
The whole little region.
Right.
Yeah. Nice. I know we just.
I know. Wait, look, you're my African sister now.
Yes, Maki Dada.
Right.
Oh man. So, what is in the business? What is the toughest thing that you've had to overcome?
Something I still deal with time to time would just be discrimination. To be honest, I get it from my people. I get it from wholesalers, like everybody. Honestly. I remember an occasion where I went to Miami, a jewelry show in Miami, and jewelers were allowed to go into these wholesaler stores and make connections. And they locked the door when I approached, and I was so confused. I'm like, maybe they're going to lunch, no biggie. And I called just to confirm, and they were just like, what are you here for? And I said, I'm a jeweler. I'm just here to make connections and take a look at what you have available. And they're like, no, I'm sorry, we can't let anyone else in. And then I walked away from the building, but I was still at an angle, and they didn't see me. I wasn't hiding. I was just like trying to get an Uber. And then all of a sudden a guy walks up, and they open the door and let him in. So I walked to the door, and he's shopping. So I'm like confused. So I call again, and I express my, concerns. And they're like, we're so sorry. We'll let you in. We've just been robbed before. So we're trying to be very careful as to who we let in. And I was the only person of color. So, yeah. So.
The more things change, the more they stay the same.
Yeah. So, that was really, really hard to deal with. And then, honestly, sometimes.
Did we review that on Google?
I definitely did.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And then, sometimes in my day-to-day when people are shouting out my brand and people are discovering who I am, I've had you know, customers get a little nervous to shop with me because I'm a Black jeweler. They're like, are you really going to give me my jewelry if I purchase from you? Or how do I know, like, you're legit? And it's like, you're not asking any other jeweler that question. Right. No one's dealing with that. I have a lot of friends in the jewelry industry. They don't deal with this. It's just me. So that's the hardest thing. But, you know, I just always pray for strength to just understand that some people are like that. And I just let it roll off my back, honestly. Like, I'm not stopping because of that.
Amen.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Now, do you have a kind of a plan in place for your children to enter the business? Are you grooming them? What does that look like?
So my 10-year-old is, I believe she's a genius, to be honest. She's so brilliant, but she picks up on everything that I do. And she mentioned to me before wanting to be a real estate investor, but also wanting to take over my jewelry business. And because she's watching me every day get up, work with clients, and she's like, wow, Mom, we're able to really do anything that we want. Like, she picks up on stuff like that. Period. So I'm teaching them the industry. They see me packaging orders. They love to help with that. They love to see me designing pieces. They think it's so cool when I'm repairing pieces or anything like that. So I tell them all the time, like, yeah, this is gonna be you one day. You're gonna be Z Jewelers. You're gonna, I just speak life into them, but I'm setting the business up in a way in which, they can easily take over and, I can pass it down, because the jewelry business is really like a grandfathered in company. A lot of jewelers that I've met have been doing it, forever, or their grandfathers or fathers passed it down. So I'm trying to create this generational wealth for my children and their children to have.
And that's a command, in case y'all missed that. There's more than 10 commandments. That is one of them. Leave that inheritance for your children's children.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I'm so impressed. Do you do watches?
I do.
Okay. Now, are you making the full piece, or are you just contributing the diamonds and the design? How does that work? Your factory makes the actual watch?
So there's different levels to watches. It's a really tricky industry. So I'm really just kind of getting my, hands in it, in that industry. But so I started off just selling factory made watches. Like, it had to come from Cartier. It had to come from Rolex. It had to come from, Audemars and all that. And then we just add the diamonds to it. We just enhance the watches, because a lot of those places, they don't believe in really icing out watches. They think it takes away from the value and the beauty, which it can in a way. It kind of depends on the consumer. Right. Because a lot of places, if you enhance a Rolex, like adding diamonds to it, they won't even touch it. You can't get it repaired or anything by Rolex, because they're like, you shouldn't have touched our watch. So in our factory, we do make the aftermarket pieces to be able to enhance watches now. So we'll make the bands that are already iced out, or we'll make the bezel or something cool if someone wants to add a nice touch to it. We're now doing that. Yeah.
Rolex.
Yeah.
Cartier.
Yeah.
Audemars.
Yeah.
That thing needed to breathe.
Yeah.
These are like major international brands.
Yes.
Is there, or what is the threshold before you're able to even breach those type brands?
So honestly, I'm still not there. I have to go through my friends who've been doing the jewelry industry for 30 plus years to be able to get my watches. Like, you have to build a strong relationship with these retailers, or these factories, to become a retailer, an authorized retailer. I don't want to just sell them. I want to be an authorized retailer. So I'm trying to now build that relationship, but it might be a while.
And I knew that. I had an interview before, and this man he went from selling t-shirts and shoes out of his trunk to, he's worth like $100 million now.
Wow.
And he's the largest, he's Canadian, and he's the largest Nike retailer in the country.
Wow.
And he explained that to me, that there's that threshold, and you can't just go to some shop and say, I want this Nike, this Nike, this Nike. So I knew that there had to be like a threshold, and that's interesting, but you have that relationship. Relationships is currency too.
I'm telling you, it's so important. Like, a lot of jewelers told me it took them about 10 to 15 years to be trusted by these companies. So I definitely want to break that record. I'm praying like year 5 or 6, they're like, okay, we see you, girl. But so.
I see it. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And are you experiencing year over year growth every year?
Yes. So
That's awesome.
we're now tracking our numbers, and we're making projections to definitely hit over $1 million this year for sure. It's been just growing over the years, but yeah.
So many things. Like I've been speaking since I was a little girl. Very few people leave me speechless. You did it. I'm like,
Oh wow, thank you.
oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that you